Hi, I'm Pete Seligman, Managing Director of SRO Technology. I'm excited to present our new podcast, Measure Up, brought to you by our team to talk about their favourite topic, industrial measurement. We're working hard this year to bring the Ramsey product range back to the market. Ramsey's been around for a long time, longer than SRO and a lot longer than any of us. And so we're proud to be the custodians of this great brand for the next phase of its journey. And what better way to bring you along for the ride than to give you a behind-the-scenes look via this season of our new podcast. Let's go and have a look. In this episode, I speak to Dave Steele. He's our General Manager at SRO Technology. Dave's been with us for a few years now, but prior to being with SRO Technology, he spent a lot of time as a service technician in a range of industries, which gives him direct experience on site dealing with a range of different instruments and technologies. That experience is now making its way through to benefits with our team as they deal with the Ramsey product range coming back to market and the customer requirements for that range as we move forward. Dave is involved across a range of different aspects with our business, across operations through to supply chain and also directly with our customers in sales. And so I'm looking forward to hearing from him about how we're going in bringing Ramsey back. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Pete.
Thanks very much for your time. I appreciate it. You are our third recording for the day. So a few people have kind of loosen me up. So hopefully I'm a bit easier to deal with than the first two where I was really hard on the questions. So you'll have an easy set of questions. But before we get started into kind of our discussion around Ramsey and how it fits in with kind of SRO and what we're trying to do with the business here, be good to get a little bit of background on kind of your experience with SRO so far and kind of when you joined us and kind of the various roles that you've had, because you've kind of done a few different things at SRO over the last couple of years. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I've been with the business for nearly 2.5 years now. When I was brought on board, it was to create the instrumentation department, which now is being run by someone else. So that business unit's now going really well and is a really good complement to the other services we provide. Basically, I then moved into an operations manager role, and then now I'm in the general manager role.
So you came across to help us build out that instro capability because that's the background that you have, right? So you've come from a technician kind of in the field role from an instro point of view. Yeah. Tell us a bit about that.
I'm an electrician by trade, and I also did my instrumentation trade at the same time. Was lucky enough to learn off some really good tradesmen. I then worked in the service contracting industry for a long time, then ended up doing all the oil and gas projects, working offshore, and then COVID changed a lot of my plans, brought me back into working into Brisbane, where I've made the transition into management. And with 3 young kids at home, worked out really well.
No. Okay, well, that's a job in itself, right?
Yeah.
And so I imagine that it's interesting being now in kind of a leadership management role, but coming from that background of being on site and directly solving problems for customers. How do you think that changes your approach to how you kind of help to work alongside customers, but also support our team in how they service their customers?
Yeah, it's really good because you have the perspective from a business side but also from a technician point of view and a customer point of view. I think the biggest thing for the customers we can do is make it easy for them and give them solutions and or options because sometimes depending on what the customer needs, they might need multiple, options because we don't know what they've got planned in a year, 2, 3, and so forth. And then for the technicians, the big plan is to try and make it as easy as possible for them to complete their paperwork, get their documentation done, and be able to service the client really easily.
And sometimes quickly. Those simple things are the most important, right?
Yes.
Like it's easy to forget about the fact that actually some of the really simple, direct kind of day-to-day stuff is actually the most important stuff to get right, because that's what's going to give the customer the right outcome, but also our technicians the confidence when they're in there solving.
And it can also be the most difficult thing to get right too.
Yes. Yeah.
When we've got a pretty large team now, trying to get consistency across the whole team and make sure everyone's doing the same thing, upgrading systems because what used to work doesn't work anymore. It has its challenges, but it's also rewarding as well.
Yeah. And so when, in your career to date, you've in those service roles and in those technician roles, you've had to work with a wide range of products, right? So particularly in Instro, there are lots of different OEMs, there are lots of different products, all aiming to solve a range of different problems. One of the benefits that we're feeling almost already, even though we're only early in the game with having this ownership of Ramsey IP, one of the benefits we're experiencing is like our technicians might have particular issues or little tweaks that they want to make to particular products. And now we're in a position where we can actually make those products better for technicians, which ultimately makes them better for customers. What's some experience you've had in the past where there's been issues with OEM related product that it would have been great if you could have solved? Do you know what I mean? Like, and you've had to have a workaround because you didn't have direct access to make that.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. Like a lot of these bigger businesses too, they don't do service anymore as well. So they become a products business and they don't really think about how to service these products. And, technology is obviously changing a lot of that as well. I think the fact that now we have such ownership over the Ramsey brand and we such influence is a great thing because all the problems, it's a great piece of kit, but there's always problems. We've got that feedback loop now from our technicians and from our customers. And I'm sure if our technicians are experiencing it, if our customers in Australia are experiencing it, I'm sure globally they are as well. So we're fixing that not just for Australia, but also globally. And then also too, we have now got greater control over lead times. We're kind of not the middleman for it, so we can make sure that we get that right as well. But yeah, I think a lot of the time when you talk to like bigger operators, they've obviously got their priorities and directions. We would have very little influence on those. But at least with us being service company at heart, we can listen to our techs and what they need and what they're seeing in real time.
Yep.
And react to that.
And it's interesting how small but beneficial some of those things can be. Like I already know that in discussions that our technicians are having with our Ramsey technology team is things like, I just don't like how that menu tree works. Or when I push this button, I have to push 5 other buttons before I can undertake this really simple function. Or it'd be great if I could get from this menu page directly back to the home page, right? And so it seems like relatively small things, but when you're out on site, it could be 45 degrees or it might be -10 or, your gloves are, aren't working properly or you can't, you want to get things done efficiently. Those little tweaks make quite a big impact, right?
Yeah, especially with beltways, they're under time constraint. They're usually the last people to get the locks off, to run that, do that calibration, and then they're up and running. So obviously sites, the quicker we can make that, the better, because then sites are up and running and going. So you get that efficiency back. Also too, like if you had to start it again, like sometimes these calibrations can take half an hour, If you had to start that again, puts it back to zero.
Yeah. So like one thing that I like, and I'm seeing it effectively a little bit from the outside in, but it looks to me as though we're already making good gains in creating that connection between our field service technicians and our product team to make sure that even what appears like the small little tweaks and changes, we're managing to get back into that development.
Yeah. So Matt has really worked hard to basically talk with the techs. So he's picked out a few of our senior guys and they've given him a list of wishes. And I think the majority of them have been fixed.
Yeah.
Then more improvements as well that are going to be worked on in this version and the next versions as well.
And So, I mean, we obviously have a great customer base here in Australia and also in the Asia Pacific, but there'll be lots of kind of long-term Ramsey users and customers who are new to SRO. What can you tell those people about SRO? So, there'll be people in other markets where SRO as a technical service business won't be servicing those markets, but they'll have access to the Ramsey product. But what do you think it's important for those customers to know about SRO, given that we're now the custodian of that brand?
I think it's important for them to know that SRO is known for quality, and for being that partner with customers to get them solutions to get their plant running and running efficiently as well. We've only had it for 6 months. It feels longer, but a lot of that is getting our head around what we've got and then spooling up the supply chain, which we're making great gains on already. And then also improving what is already a great product as well. So I think what's important for our customers to know is, like, we've got it, we're proud to have it, but we're not going to just sit on what it is already. We intend to develop it more and to improve it and make it the best product it could be.
Yeah. And I think also, like, the thing that it's useful for offshore markets to realize, or international markets to realize, is that their feedback will take account of it. So we are really keen to hear that feedback, regardless of how small it might seem, because we've got a really, really demanding technical team here who, are constantly raising things with us. Like, our technician team are out there saying, oh, actually, we need to change this to this, and here's a long list of other things that we can fix. So we're very keen for that feedback loop. And if there are other markets that are facing different challenges, I guess the message there is that it won't fall on deaf ears, right?
No, it won't. And also too, what might work in Australia might not work in a colder environment.
Yep.
So we need to take that stuff into account, which we already are experiencing as well, with different materials being used for the TMDs. But yeah, we'll always listen for those things. And whilst we might not be able to act on them straight away, we'll definitely keep that in mind when we're going to the next version or a new product.
And just over the last 6 months, we've obviously gone from kind of standing start to where we are today through a few different phases, getting our head around the IP, getting our head around supply chain and all that sort of thing. And you've had your fingers in a variety of those pies, given that your role is quite pervasive across the organization. What have been the things that have stood out to you in terms of things that are either kind of harder than you thought they were going to be, or some things that were easier than you thought they were going to be?
I think, obviously, being a service business, our systems are set up for a service business.
Yep.
So trying to make that work has been one thing that's been a bit harder. The other thing is supply chain. Some suppliers have been really great and really helpful. Others kind of want us to pick up where Thermo left off, and that's not what we're able to do at the moment. So I think that's probably been hard. The other hard thing has been finding the team to help bring Ramsey and to push Ramsey along as well. And that's something we did really quickly. And I think we found some really good people to do that through internal and also external.
Yeah, I was speaking to Jeff earlier, and we were saying that it's amazing how quickly let's call it the global Ramsey family has kind of come back together again. We've got network connections in every single market that some of them we knew about from our own kind of existing relationships, but others have kind of almost come out of the woodwork, right? People that have been tapping us on the shoulder from Europe or North America or, Africa, that are kind of saying, oh, look, I heard that you just came across the Ramsey product range. It's actually a range that I've been working with for a long time. And even just almost, it's kind of a little bit strange, but almost like just well wishes, right? We hope you do great, and, really looking forward to the Ramsey range coming back. And, it's got like a momentum around it, right?
It really does. It's actually been really, really good to see the customer reaction to us getting the brand. And probably a lot of the customers being really appreciative that the brand is still going to continue. I think we underestimated the reception it was going to get and the inquiries we were going to get.
It's almost like a fan base, isn't it?
Yeah, it honestly is. And with obviously, Ramsey's got a really long history, and it also is such a quality product that it does have that dedicated fan base.
Yeah.
And it's really, really encouraging to see for us.
Yeah, and the thing that I like is that every time I speak to people in the team about it, you can tell that they take that kind of obligation really, really seriously.
Yeah.
Like it's not lost on them that we've got a job to do for the market in making sure that we do it right.
Yeah, and that's the big thing is we would love to press go and have everything out ready, available straight away. But we want to make sure what we do send is quality, and we want to get it right. We don't want to do it wrong, because I think as soon as we do it wrong the first time, like it's going to leave a bad taste. So yeah, we're really trying to make sure that once our supply chains are fully up and running and what we send out as a final product to our customer is a quality product that's going to have that reliability.
Yeah, and that's a bit of that SRO legacy coming through, right? Because we know what it looks like when you wire up a product on site and it's not ready. We know how frustrating that is, not only for the customer, but also for the technician, whoever they are, whether or not they're in our SRO team or whether they're in an international team. If we put a product in the hands of that technician, we know that we want that technician to have a good experience with that product, because that'll result in a good customer outcome.
That technical integrity is really important to us, and we live and die by it in a sense. Sometimes it works for us really well. Most of the time it works for us really well, but sometimes it does bite us in the bum because we financially might lose because of that technical integrity, where we will, not send something because it's not right and fix it, or we'll make sure that we've got a quality product and own the mistake as well. If we do make one.
Yeah. And so looking forward now, I've posed this question to other people in the team, say over the next, 6 to 12 month horizon, as it relates to the Ramsey product and in the context of the SRO team, what are some of the things that you're looking forward to?
More product coming online, with more stock being kept here in Australia. With some of our distributors, they're going to be holding stock in different locations across the world as well. And just that becoming business as usual. But I think something I'm really excited about is having that Ramsey brand becoming SRO as well, and being pretty much, when the people are talking about Ramsey, they're talking about SRO. And just getting that feedback from the customers, and that we are on the right track, and then looking to develop the next iteration of product.
It's funny, isn't it? Like you can already see that we're getting to the end of the first horizon of, getting the IP under control, getting the supply chains reestablished, and getting that existing product range back to market.
Yeah.
You can feel it in the team that they're like, okay, well, that's done. What's next, right? Like, they're like, okay, well, now that we've got all those things solved, we need to set ourselves the next challenge. So this next challenge needs to be, what's the next version going to be? Or what's the next product going to be? Or now we've got this platform, how do you find balancing that dynamic? I caught up with Jeff earlier and we're talking about, the great response we've had from the marketplace in terms of demand for the product range, but at the same time, the position that puts our sales team in terms of having to say, we're not quite ready yet. How do you balance that dynamic within the team internally to get them to understand that there needs to be this nice balance between urgency and patience?
Yeah, I think the way we've done it is pretty much say to them, like, we don't want to rush the product, because then you don't want to be cleaning up after it if it's not right. And as excited as everyone is, everyone's on board with that. And so I think in terms of, everyone's already got ideas about what we should do next and where it should go. But I also think they're also bearing in mind that there's a heap of demand already for the products we've already got. And we at least need to service that need first. And then that'll help give us the opportunity to develop the new products. Yeah, but I think everyone obviously these days is impatient and wants things now. And I'm no different. Like, I would love all this stuff ready to go now, but with reality kicks in and
Got to do it right.
things that seem simple aren't simple sometimes. And yeah, I think in the end, as long as we do a quality product, the rest will speak for itself, and the rest will come.
Yeah, and I think, you know, communication can never be perfect, but I think communication with the market and the customer base, trying to be as transparent as we can around where we're at on that journey. And so those customers can make the right decision for them and their operations, like on a daily and weekly basis, I think is really, really important. And so we'll continue to strive to do that.
And if our team doesn't have confidence in the product, they're not going to sell it.
Yeah.
Our service techs and our sales team, that's where we do a lot of our sales, because they're at the forefront with our customers on those daily interactions. And yeah, they're the ones that usually have those relationships with our customers. We're just here to support that.
Yeah. Fantastic. Awesome.
Excellent.
Thanks very much for your time, Dave.
No worries. Thank you.
No doubt I'll have you back.
Oh, great.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to leave comments below. We're keen to get your feedback and make sure that what you want to see is what we're delivering in future episodes. Also, visit the website, srotechnology.com, if you want to learn more about what we're up to. And remember, keep measuring up.